why do we need a web portfolio when you submit your CV with your job application? Basically, if you say you have worked in an NGO in the past, in your CV, you will just write that I have worked in the NGO, and in some bullet points, you will put down what you did. But with the help of your own website, you can actually showcase what you did with the NGO. You can showcase the photos, which are actually good for the HR team of a company to see and assess your application. It is also easier for the clients to search you. They can Google, and if you have implemented SEO on your website, then possibly your web page will come out top. Plus, it is one more skill added to your CV if you can master building your own website. So, what are we going to do today? So, for today, I will just tell you how to copy paste this website. Like this website is hosted on GitHub. So it is, as you can see, it is just a generic website made for instructing you guys. It is not very UI UX centric. For that, we will be having an event in February where you can learn more about UI and UX, and you can improve on this website. So to do this, we will be using certain technologies. So what are we going to use today? So we need Node and NPM in your computer. I hope it's installed along with the code editor and also Git. And I hope everybody has a GitHub account. So if you don't, if you don't have Node, you can just go to their website and you can download the LTS version. I think most of you have Windows or Mac OS, which is okay. You can get the graphical installer with it, so it's easier to follow and you can install it easily. NPM comes along with Node, so you don't need to install NPM separately. If you want to download Git, you can just go to their Google and you can just go to their website and download from their download section. Then if you need a code editor, I personally will use today VS Code. If you don't like VS Code or if you're not comfortable with using VS Code, I prefer Sublime for more beginners. So if it's your first time coding or even if you're like a beginner, a Sublime would be a very good place to start. So without delaying it, let's see. So I have Node installed. You can check if Node is installed or not by using this command in the terminal. This is the Windows terminal. Every OS has a terminal in it. So you can access it and start like give commands and do things. Like if I have to create my React app, I will just use npx create React app uh, portfolio dem. NPX comes along with NPM. There is a slight difference between NPX and NPM. NPX generally installs everything related to like so see NPX will be installing React DOM, React scripts with CRA template, which is like a beginner code which you will be modifying in React. Also till it installs, I'll just give a brief background on React. So in React, we divide a web page into several components. Like this website, you can divide it to this navigation header, this about section, the project section, the skill section, and the contact section. Now, so basically I will be using React Bootstrap to create these sections. If you don't want to use, if you have used Bootstrap before with HTML and CSS, then you might know how Bootstrap works. Even if you don't know, I will give a brief introduction as we go along in the workshop. We will be setting a Bootstrap and we will be using the layouts and their pre-built navigation bars and containers to develop our website. Another thing which I will touch today is this feature. So generally when So when we will do this, Control plus P. So Control plus P is the shorthand for printing a website, printing a web page. But when you do this, it will take you directly to your CV. So I mean, it's not a very proficient way to like print your own website. You want, if somebody wants to like save your website, it's better that they save your CV also. So if you press Control P here, it will take you directly to a Google Drive link, which is linked to my CV. So yeah, let's see if it's well. No. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Well, till then, we can do some more things. Like we can go to GitHub. Hmm. So if you don't have a GitHub account, just you can create it using, I think you can create it using your Google email or Facebook email as well, or you can just create your own username. Then if I go to my repositories, I'll just create a new repository, which I will link to it later. PolyU demo should be public. Don't need a README file, don't need a git ignore, and we don't need to choose a license for it. So let's create this repository. So this is an empty repository created, linked to your GitHub account, which you will use later to link it to GitHub pages and host our website. If you do not have Git and GitHub installed, no worries. I will try to cover Netlify, which is like which also helps you host one website for free. So you can just drag drop your files here, and it will host your website. I will try my best to cover it as well. If you don't have Git and GitHub installed, no worries. The only thing with Git and GitHub is that, so if you want to say, if I have these projects, so currently I don't have anything written here, but if I add more projects into it, with Netlify, if I use this feature, I have to like re-drag and drop it. But with Git and GitHub, you can just git add and git push, and then it will just update it automatically. So it's easier for future, but if you don't have it installed, you can use Netlify as well. So you can just Google Netlify. And you can go to their website and create your own account. You can create a free account, and if you want to host other websites in future and you want to like their services, you can pay them as well for membership. So this is taking a lot more time. So well, let's see chat. Any questions from anyone till now? Like before I go on to code and before this completely installs? What thing? SS develop is my username. Yeah, you have to create your own username. Come on. Oh, yeah, sure. Um, is this npx create react app? Let me just copy this and paste it in the chat. So you just need to install. So you need a code editor, which if you're a beginner, I prefer Sublime Code. Otherwise, you can just use VS Code. So like I have both. I have Sublime Text, which looks like this. If you open it, generally like this. Um, So I go here, I will open a folder which is in my D drive. I will go to GDSC and portfolio demo. So like this, you can open your folder and you will see some files here, which I'll talk about it in a bit. You need Node as well. So for Node, you can just go to their website and download it. It comes with a graphical installer.
Hi, Srijan. So before we continue, some people are very confused about npx create. So could you just go back from there?
Yeah,
Explain
sure.
what's happening?
So basically, I mean, if you have installed Node, Node comes with npm and npm has npx in it. npx is just like a package installer. It installs different packages together. So Create React app has bundled these packages together, the React DOM, and React Strip. If you don't use npx, you have to install these three different things separately. So yeah, it's better to use npx. Npx create React app. You're just creating a React application, which we will be using today for building the portfolio.
Okay, so just to clarify, guys, we're going to go to node.js.org and then we're going to download Node and then open your command prompt. So the way you can do that is by using your Windows key and R, and you'll be given a little prompt, and then write CMD and open your command prompt. And then you'll see this black screen.
Or
And then,
you can, sorry, or you can just search terminal. You can get a terminal or a command prompt, depending on that.
right.
So
Yes.
this is Windows 11, so I get terminal. If you are using Windows 10, you can just type CMD and you'll get command prompt.
Right. So everything we're discussing right now is content from the email that we sent out, just to set up your environment. So just to clarify, download Node, check which version you have, and then after everything is done, make sure you also have an IDE. So Srijan is using Sublime Text. You can also use VS Code or Eclipse. So just make sure you have an environment, and then go into create a new. Okay, do we touch all HTML, JSS? Yes, we are. We're gonna touch all those. Right. So create a new file. You can name it whatever you want. Like Scotty website, and then go to your command prompt and type this command: npx create React app.
Portfolio, yeah. So this will create a folder called portfolio demo. If I look here, so a folder is created here with the same name as your project. So you give a project name here. After npx create React app, you will give a project name, and that folder will be created here with some pre-built code in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to add something?
Yes. So is everyone all right to this point? All good. Ooh, let's go. All right. Hold on. So just to clarify, Sam, npx create React app is your boilerplate code. So basically, you get like a template of writing your website. Right. So that is our starting point. So guys, make sure you are all on the same page, because if you don't reach this point, you'll struggle a lot moving forward. So does anyone need?
We are going to use JavaScript.
Yes. So can you? So while we're waiting for some people, Srijan, do you want to do a full rundown of the tech we're using today?
We are just going to use basically we are going to use React, and this will be our main focus today, React Bootstrap. So I will be telling you guys how to create a website from scratch, but also not entirely from scratch. So you will be copying and pasting stuff a lot, and also modifying that copy pasted stuff to create something like this.
Yeah.
So terminal is basically an app in every operating system in which you can interact with kernel, as we say, but it is like more. So it is like, so you can also, how can I explain this? Yeah, so you can, when you use a Windows manager, you copy paste files from one place to another. So you can also use terminal to do that. You can use some terminal, you can write some commands here. Say I want to move some file, I can just write move file 1 to folder 1. So it is just like what you do, it's just like more of a command line interface instead of graphical.
Right. So, guys, we actually should be moving along, and I know a couple of people are, struggling with the setup. So, regarding that, we'll have our, facilitators help you individually. So, yeah, Gordon, please reach Gordon on WhatsApp and Discord, or you could individually message us. So, Srijan, I think we can just go along and start from my boilerplate.
Okay, so right now we are in the folder, say whichever folder you might have created. We need to move our terminal to the folder we just created using npx create react app. The name of the folder was portfolio demo. So we can just go cd portfolio demo. Cd is the command common in every operating system, so you can just use this. So cd portfolio demo, and now I am in portfolio demo folder. We will be using this. So in order to start our React app, what we are going to do is we are going to, so basically if you read after installation, React gives you some tips. So successfully created portfolio demo inside the directory, you can run several commands. Start to start the server, build to build the app, and testing and eject. You don't need these two today. You will only need npm start and npm build. So for now, let's see what npm start does. If I type npm start, it will take some time and it will open. So this is the template which we get when we first npm start. So basically when we start our app, this is the first thing which we get. Now we have to change this thing into this. So let's keep these two things aside. Okay. So if I open, so but we still need the terminal, so I'll just do. So you can just open a new terminal, or you can duplicate this. I think duplicate feature is available. If you're using command prompt, please go to the Windows and just open a new command prompt to go to your project. Is somebody, hello?
Guys, please keep your mic muted, especially the person who's in MTR right now. Please mute your mic so
Yeah, I
you
missed
can
them
hear our
too.
lesson.
So.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So make sure that in one terminal your app is running with all the, so basically this thing is running in one because you don't want to stop it. Next, and in the other we will do some other stuff later. So make sure you have two terminals open pointing to the same directory. So now we have to edit this. Let's open our Sublime Text. We need to open that folder. I think I opened it, yeah. So right here, if you see, we have certain files already given to us, like index.js. This is the SRC folder in which all your source code will be. So all your code will go into this folder. This is the public folder, which I don't recommend to edit for beginners. The only thing I will advise to edit is this title tag. So you open in public folder, you go to index.html, and you just state title to your name. When you save this, it should update automatically on the website here on top. So see, it's now Srijan Srivastava at localhost 3000. Now, if I go back to Sublime, okay, so now going back to the SRC folder, you will have app.js, which is like the beginning, which has like this code for the spinning logo. I'll just delete this and just add a header. Say, if I do this and save, it should be updated automatically. The folder is when you create the React app. So in the terminal, when you did npx create React app, this is a folder that will be created automatically. Portfolio by the name of portfolio demo. So you just need your terminal to point to that folder like this. So currently it is in my GDSC folder with the name of portfolio demo. So yeah, whatever changes we make to our code here, it will showcase automatically here. So let's see. Now let's start actually how to open that web page. Oh, so once you're done with installing, like once you're done with this, you need to change your directory. So once you're done installing, you need to change your directory to portfolio demo. You need to go into that portfolio demo folder, and you just need to run npm start. That is why I asked you to like install npm. If you have npm or node installed, then just go to npm, then just hit npm start, press enter, and your server will start automatically. Once the server starts in your own system, you just need to.
All right, guys. So we've actually reached our milestone, which is we have our setup, and now we have our local server running. So just to clarify, we have npm start, which will start our local server, and that is how we reach our website that says hello world. So can you guys put in the chat box if you've reached this point? Reached. Awesome. Yas, Yas Queen. Or Yas King.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, cannot catch up. All right, no worries. Please DM one of our facilitators. Okay, in Sublime Text, where are folders?
So you just go to file. Whenever you open Sublime Text, you just go to file, open folder, and you just go to the folder. Like so, this in this you just navigate to your folder. You click on this and you just select this folder, and it will just open automatically. On the side panel, there will be the contents of the folder, and here you can edit your code.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Kachun, I know it seems really fast, but this is the setup. So this part we can't slow down. So if you have any problems, let us know. Yeah. How to show hello world. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically when you so in the SRC folder, you can see that there are several files here. So you just go to app.js. There will be some code here already written once you have, and when you run npx create React app. So just delete that. Just delete that loading spinner code. You don't need that. and just add this h1 hello world.
So Sam, you got to go to app.js and remove all that code. Just put h1 hello world, and then make sure to run your server on the command prompt, right? npm start. And that should get you started.
So once you do this, and you just need to press Ctrl S to save, just go here and save here. Once you save, the good thing with React is you don't need to rerun your server. So once you save, it reloads automatically and it will showcase hello world here.
Yes. All right,
Okay.
so I think we're ready to go.
Okay, so now there's one more setup. We need Bootstrap for our React app. So what we have to do is, I'll share this link in the chat. So you guys can go to this link. This is like getting started link for the Bootstrap. You just go to here and you see that in the installation section there should be an npm install this. So you don't need to type this, just copy this, go to the terminal again. See, I told you we need 2 terminals, right? So now go to the second one in which the server is not running. Don't interrupt this one. Let it run. Let it be free. Go to the second one and just paste this, whatever you have copied from here, just paste this and just hit enter. So this code will install Bootstrap for your project. So you can use Bootstrap freely without using any other third parties. Just install Bootstrap for your project. Yep, it's installed. Is everybody done with that? Okay. Please ask if you have any questions. Don't think that any questions are stupid. Like,
Srijan,
yeah.
could you put the command in the chat box?
Oh yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, I can share the link. It will take some time to install depending on PC and previous cache. So I already had React Bootstrap installed, so it doesn't take much time. But since you guys are installing it for the first time, it will take some time. So 5 minutes or so might take. NPM is slow. Well, let it install. We need to do one more thing in order to use our Bootstrap. So when you go to the style sheet section on the same link, there's a style sheet section. When you go to the style sheet section, there are 2 options presented here, and we need to do any one of these. So the easiest one is you take this line, you copy this, you go to, I'll paste this in chat. So you copy this whole thing, you go to your code, go to index.css file or app.css file, any one of those. No, wait. Yeah, so sorry, you need to go to either app.js or index.js. So let's say in app.js, I will delete this logo because we do not need this. So I'll just Instead of that, I'll paste this bootstrap slash dis slash css slash bootstrap.min.css. Do not try to run it. It will give an error if bootstrap is not installed yet. So do not save it yet. Like it will not give an error for me because it is installed on my system. So yeah, just wait till it installs or just paste it and leave it like that.
All right, guys. So Bootstrap is basically a way to. Awesome, David Fong. Okay, so Bootstrap is just a library that makes our life a lot easier. Because for CSS, usually you have to type it all by yourself. But Bootstrap helps us not type all that code, and we can just make our project really pretty without actually coding a lot. So, guys, just to recap, install Bootstrap for React.
I'll give you an example. So for one of the companies that I worked for, they asked me to do CSS from scratch. So if I can find their folder, well, you know what? I'm not allowed to show their code. So let me go to one of the React courses. Yeah. So this is like an e-commerce website I'm working on as a side project. So if I open this, and I just want to show you guys how much like it takes. Like so for a real website, it is so many things here. So if I go to components, there are like CSS files for each component. Some are big, some are small. Doesn't matter much. But yeah, if I was using Bootstrap for this project, I don't need these CSS files that much. So Bootstrap will make our life easy because we are just going to copy paste things. And
All right,
of course, modify it.
yeah, so guys, right now it looks very complicated, but don't worry because this is just setup.
Once you do it, once you
Yeah.
start doing it, it will feel easy.
Yes. So, guys, all we've done in our code is basically change up app.js. We haven't done anything else, just app.js. And we've also just copied this line of code, import bootstrap / dist / CSS. So, all right, is everyone good to move forward or shall we just take a little break?
Okay, let's take like a really small break and just have like a small recap on what's going on or what we did just now. So from the beginning, Srijan illustrated and showed how to install npm and Node. So basically, if you have followed the steps to download node.js, it should be in your computer. And after that, you should have checked that you've installed that by typing in npm-v in your command prompt or terminal if you're using Mac. So this step basically makes sure that you have installed node.js. This is the first step. The second step, which is now, we're basically working on Bootstrap. And so people ask, what is Bootstrap? So basically it's a styling library or what we call CSS and what the Scotty says to make our website pretty. So we're now on Bootstrap step. So if you're still in the first step on understanding how npm or Node works on or installing on your computer, you might be slightly lagging behind. So you might want to WhatsApp us, or if you're on Discord, you can Discord us. Anyway, just raise your concern in the group if you're still in step 1, and we will DM you and help you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like we would say like a minor checkpoint on what we're doing.
Yeah. So guys, don't worry. Setup is the hardest. Don't be discouraged. All right. So I think we can slowly move forward. So wait, Srijan, just to make it a little bit simpler for our audience, let's try to keep it like as structured and concise as possible.
Yeah. So no, so basically you do not need to copy the source code. You can just go to the installation guide and run npm install. and just import, yeah, just import what Ethan said. So for importing, you have two options. Either you can use app.js or index.js. I just use app.js. You just add it above your app.css. So you just import this and save this one. This will be the setup. This will complete our setup for Bootstrap. Is everybody okay? Okay. All right. So, as I said, we divide our React app into several components. So components are just like subsections of a website or a smaller part of a website. So your heading could be a component. This photo could be a component. So we won't be creating components for such small things because that is like handled by Bootstrap already. So now we just need to, as if you have done your setup and everything is done correctly, we will just copy paste code. So if you have any issue with setup, just ask it. You can ask it right now. How to open this localhost? Oh, so it should open on its own. If it's not open on its own, generally you just type localhost colon 3000 and it will open. Why my hello world don't show in the, oh, don't worry about it. It sometimes when you have loaded, sometimes what happens is when you load npm React app, the React logo is not spinning. It's just still. So it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. We won't be using this. Okay, so I hope everybody has the setup. Yes, we will be. Why do I have React must be in scope when using GSS? I don't. Wait a second. So is it like you're getting an error? Is it something like this? Oh, so that means you're not in the correct folder, I guess. You need to be inside this portfolio demo. So your terminal should be inside portfolio demo. So you need to go inside it by using the cd command and then run npm start. Okay, hope it's working fine. So yeah, now we can copy paste code. So let's create something here. So yeah, as I said, we need some components. So our first component would be this navigation bar. We call it header. So why not create a file for it? We will link that. So in src, create a new folder. Let's create a new folder in src. We will name it components. Do you guys see a folder or is it me? There's no folder here, right? Sometimes that also happens. Yep. Okay. Yep, it's broken. Well, no worries. I'll just create it here. Oh, sorry, not here. Go to SRC and oh wait, it's here. Okay, this is weird. Well, this is new for me as well.
So
Okay,
Srijan,
wait.
maybe we can
I'll
just
use VS Code for now.
Matthew, the components folder is we made it ourselves.
We
It's
have to
not
make it ourselves. Yeah, you have to make it out yourself. Don't
it's
worry if
not
you
in the
don't have it. Yeah.
boilerplate.
So yeah, inside the components folder, we will add header.js. Please make sure one one rule of React is your component name should be start with a capital letter. If it's not, it will give you an error. So please make sure that the name is capital H header.js. The first thing that we need to do is we need to import React from React. Inside this, next we will create a function. This is just a way of creating a function. If you don't know how to function, then you can just type function header, and we will return an empty div format. And we need to export default header. So what we are doing right now is I'll give a I get an error that it cannot be reached. What cannot be reached? Did you hit? Is your server showing something like this? Like your on your terminal, you can see something like this, right? Okay, so there are two links here. One is localhost 3000. The other one is your IP address .3000. So you should try to like use any one of those. It should work. If localhost is not working, please give this one a try. If it still happens, you just like hit Control C or Command C, and you just run npm start again.
All right, guys. So just to clarify, I hope everyone's created your own components folder. So the way React works is that we have components to build our website. So you can actually use these components multiple times in your app.js. So it makes your coding a lot easier and faster. So you can reuse code.
Yeah.
So we're going to put all our components in the components folder. So make that directory. And then we're on our header class. So make sure you're on this folder.
And you just need to import React. So React is important so that you can write HTML inside JavaScript. It's not exactly HTML, it's called JSX, but let's call it HTML for beginner's sake. For now, just for now. So once you do that, you need, once you create header.js, you need to import React from React. You need to create a function header. It's advisable that it is the same name as your file, because if you have only one component in it, then you need to return an empty div for now. We will replace div later. So okay.
So Srijan, did we
Yeah.
use a shortcut for our boilerplate
Which boilerplate?
for header.js?
No, I just typed it.
Oh, okay, you typed it in. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. So is everyone here? Any problems so far? So the thing about our build today is that if you can get to this point, you'll understand how to just follow the pattern. So we're just going to create new components and then we're going to put them all into our app.js. So make sure you've reached this point, because whatever follows will just follow this pattern. So that's
Okay.
why it'll be a fast.
I'll address a question from Fish. Why we import React? What's the function? So basically, we import React so that we can write HTML inside JavaScript. You're not allowed to write HTML inside JavaScript as normal HTML. You have to write it as form of string. But in order to write HTML, which is called JSX, so basically it will help you write JSX or HTML inside your JavaScript if you import React. It will ensure that you are able to write it.
All right, guys. Srijan, I think we'll take a break for now and we'll take
Sure.
some Q&A.
Yeah.
So anyone with questions, so please type a question. Srijan, Gordon, me, Scotty, Rashid will be here to answer questions. So Srijan, perhaps you should like open your chat box. Let's start answering questions. So people are lagging behind.
Park, is it giving you an error or is just like in your text editor you can't see it highlighted?
Before this break, let's take a 5-minute break so you can try to catch up on the code or any changes that Srijan has made, or if you're still in another step, you can ask where we're going, where we're doing.
So if you guys are good, if you guys are all smooth sailing and you've reached this point, you can take a water break. We'll be back in 5.
Find a good drink, take a break. You're doing good.
All right.
And for anyone who want a big picture, like what are we doing, where we are, you can use the Notion link that me and Scotty has sent just now. That link is updated real time. So what Srijan is doing, we will type it in that Notion site. It's like a Google Doc. So we understand what we're doing, like the full picture of what we're doing. We understand it's gonna be slightly complicated for beginners, for non-techies, but the Notion link should be helping you. All right. So, okay, yes, yep. Then again, you can open that link to see a big picture.
Okay, so I'm just gonna walk through all the questions. All right, so what will header.js do? define the style of my elements, Shujan?
Header.js will actually help you define this header. So this small part where my name is there, about, project, skills, and this contact me button. So it will help you create this small part. We will be copy pasting the code for that from React Bootstrap's website.
Yes. So it's not actually CSS, all right? It's
Yeah.
just a little section of your website. So if
So
you know HTML,
yeah.
it's just HTML. Yeah.
So another question is like, why not import bootstrap.css directly? Okay, so you can import bootstrap.css directly. You can do that. You can just use the CDN link here. This is the other link given here. It's okay, it's completely fine. But then you have to create the components on your own. So like say, for the header, I will be using from this big list of components, I will be using navbar. So here navbar is already created by Bootstrap. I do not have to create a separate header. I just need to copy this and paste this in my code and modify it. If you use bootstrap.css CDN, you can obviously use it. It's good if you are doing your own styling. So yeah, so then you need to like create a header and give it own styling, like Bootstrap styling classes.
Will the repo be on GitHub? Yes, it will be. So if
Yes,
you
it will
fall
be.
behind, yeah, you can just look at our code and go from there as well.
I also understand that some people think like, we don't think we can finish by 8:30, still lagging behind. Don't worry. After this session, you're still free to find Srijan or Gordon or even us.
Anytime.
We'll help you. Like even at this end of this Zoom meeting, you can still work on it. We will give you time. So don't worry on rushing for the deadline for the LinkedIn
Yeah.
badge. We still have time for that. Right now,
Yeah.
if you're lagging behind, don't worry, you can still listen. And yeah, so no worries, no pressures, guys.
I have opened Sublime, open my project demo, and now I create header.js, right? You
Yeah.
missed a step there. You have to create a components folder and then create header.js. And the boilerplate code is in the Notion. Please check that. All right. Yi Min Young, I want to know what jobs did you guys have experience, like front or back or DevOps and where? We'll talk about that in the end because we're all stressed out. Let's build this first. All right, do you want to?
So I'm
Yeah, you
curious,
need to click save. Vidong, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, sorry if I'm not. So yeah, you need to enter Control+S.
Okay, and Yudong said that. I'm curious after you type hello world, what else should
Yeah.
you do to make that sentence show? So click save or what? Yes,
Yeah,
you
it
save
should
the
be
document.
yeah.
So you can use the shortcut Control S or Mac Command S.
Yes. Okay, how can I join Ghoul Devs? Join the WhatsApp, and I think we'll send out like official signups for a group.
Yes, I understand that people are still confused. Like, how do I join Go Dev? How can we join a club? We haven't like really make like a membership system yet. So basically, it's now just a WhatsApp group or Discord channel. But we'll have more plans soon. So please keep, look forward, and we'll update you guys soon.
Yes. What's the component header.js for? Yeah. So Xavier, it is actually a part of your website. It's just a little chunk of code that you can reuse. Okay. I created components folder, but unable to create header.js. It's just a file. Just create a file.
Yeah, just create a file, like create a new file, name it header.js.
Yes, you name that document as header.js. That's the step.
Make sure to add .js.
Yep.
All right. Okay. I think we should continue with our
Let's
regular
go.
flow.
Let's go, Srijan.
Okay, Zara, we got you. Shujan, you're up.
Okay. So now we need to create this navbar. So we will go to this part of the documentation, which is components, and this components, we will search for navbar. I will copy and send the link here. Yeah. So once you are here, so we will use this to create our navbar and replace this hello world with this. So we also want our navbar to be responsive. Responsive means that if I open this in my mobile phone, it should adjust to its screen. So yeah, so it should create a hamburger menu here. This 3-line thing, we call it hamburger menu. So yeah, so let's see how we can do this. Let me close this. So we need responsive. If you see here, you will see that there is a section on responsive behavior for the navbar. So let's go directly to that. We don't need, generally when you're reading documentations for a particular language or a library, uh, like I personally tend to go for the things which I need at the moment so that I can work on it in a fast fashion. So I will just copy this whole thing. From the responsive section, I'll just copy this whole thing. I will go to my code and I will replace this div with that code. Let's adjust it a bit. Yeah. So this is what I have to do. Now, another thing, as you can see, it is giving me errors because React doesn't know what navbar or what container is. So I need to import them from React Bootstrap. So you give this bar, I need a navbar, I need a container, I need a nav, and I need a nav dropdown. So yeah, nav dropdown. I don't think I need anything else from React Bootstrap. Okay, so
All right, so guys, so this is basically the pattern we'll be following throughout.
yeah,
So we're gonna get some code from bootstrap.com and we're going to put in our code and then we're gonna modify it. So it's a lot easier for us to follow. But every time we do that, we always have to import the components from React/Bootstrap. So you see the second line of code, the import and the squiggly brackets and whatever inside, we're gonna be doing that over and over again. So remember these
yes.
few steps. You're going to copy the code in your return function, and then we're going to import that. Thanks, Srijan.
So now we save it, but we won't see any changes here yet. So in order to see the changes, we need to tell app.js that we have created a header and we are trying to look how it looks. So we need to now import header from, so what's the folder? Components, and in that components we have header. So React is smart. You do not need to put .js in front of it. It will automatically assume it is a JS file. So you don't need to do anything about it. The other thing we need is we will replace this with main. And here we will just write header and forward backslash. This is a way of calling a component in React. So this is once I wait, let me just, okay, moment of truth. So when I save this, it should update. Let's see if it does. Well, it didn't. Oh, we need to refresh it manually. Okay, it also happens sometimes. So yeah, we get our navbar here instead of hello world. So what doesn't look exactly like this? We need to like make it a little broader. It's a little thinner here. So we can use normal bootstrap functions or normal bootstrap classes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a class. There's so many pop-ups because py-4. So py-4 is just a class given by the base bootstrap. It just sets the height of your container. So for us, like we want the navbar height to be like in bootstrap terms, it should be 4 times the original size. Sometimes you need to refresh it for the navbar to be shown and make sure that it is saved and it is in your app.js. And please replace the div with app class name to main so that it doesn't affect your styling. So if I have saved this, if I see, so I can see that the size is increased and it's almost the same as this one. Okay,
All right, so we are at a checkpoint.
yeah,
So what Shujan has done is basically we've got our boilerplate code, and then we imported it, and now we're going to use this component in our app.js, which is our whole program. So Shujan, can you go to app.js?
yeah, sure.
Right, so guys, notice how we got rid of our h1 tag that says hello world, and we replaced it with our component called header. And you guys need to make sure that it's a capital H, because that's the naming convention for our
Yeah,
components. All right, so all right, Sam, we got you, and Shujan, I think we can continue.
okay. So now we can make changes to it. So we need this React Bootstrap to say our name. So I'll just replace this React Bootstrap to my name. Then we need 1, 2, 3. So we need about, projects, and skills. So we have feature pricing and a drop down. So we don't need this drop down. So as you can see that here is a name of drop down, nav drop down. As we don't need it, I can just delete this. But we need a link. We need about section, project section, and a skill section. We will change this also to about, project, and skills. Okay. Make sure to add the hashtag. This will be helpful later. I will tell you what it does later. So yeah. So for now, if I save this and if I go here, which yeah, it is updated to about, project, and skills. So we have 2 more links here, which we don't need. We have more deets and dank memes. I think you can add memes on your website if you want, but yeah, I am not going to add it on this one, so I'll just delete that. I'll save that, it should be gone. So for this website, we need a button called Contact Me. So how can we get this button from React Bootstrap? Is just like this nav bar, there should be a button stack. I'll copy paste this to the chat. So these are different buttons provided by React Bootstrap, which you can just copy paste. So I used this success button. So as you can see, here is a variant, this one. So I'm just gonna copy this from the online button section of React Bootstrap's button website. And I'll just go here and I'll paste it here. Of course, it doesn't know what button is, and we are not using React nav dropdown. I'll delete that and just add buttons. Button. Okay, so if I do this, it should add a button to my website. Yeah, here. We needed to say that me. So let's see. Oh, styling error. We should see here that is written contact me. Because of bootstrap structure, this is automatically set to the right of the screen. That's how navbars are. If you just copy paste it, you can just copy paste. You can just make something looking like this, or you can even make it better if you know bootstrap. So if you want, you can use bootstrap's own class. Like the reason we imported this thing, bootstrap main.css, is so that we can use bootstrap classes as well if required. Like I used py4 here. So this code in app.js, it will tell React what py4 is, what it means. So it will tell React to set the height to 4 times the original height. And that is how we get a broader header. There's one more thing which we need. We need that when we scroll, this header should stay in the position. We want this header to stay in the position and not move. So there are two ways. We can either call it fixed, or we can call it sticky. So you can add this sticky top. So it will just stick to the top of your web page. So whenever you scroll down, it will still stick to the top. It will not like go away. This is a checkpoint from me. So if anybody has any questions, they can type. Is everybody okay till now? Okay. So our header is generally done. Now, if you want to add some styling like this horizontal vertical bar, if you know CSS, we'll code again later using the source code. Yes, for this workshop, I will mostly be using the code given by them, but there are sections where I won't be, like the About Me section. You have to use React Bootstrap, but of course, you need to style it on your own. So, say you want to add, and also we will be sending you the code, the source code later, so don't worry about that. Say you want to add this vertical bar on the right of your name so that it divides your header into two parts. So all you can do is, if you know CSS, you can come here and you can just write style. Actually, you need two of these, two curly braces, because since we are writing JavaScript, styling in JavaScript is taken as a JavaScript object. It is a technical, like a JavaScript type, like an integer or a float. An object is like a collection of things which you can relate to one another. So basically what we are going to do, set style. So we are going to say increase the font to pixels. We are going to set a right border 2 pixels solid. So solid is the type, and we need, so if we save this, okay, we see a border, but it stick to my A at the last name. I don't need that.
All right, guys. So what we're doing now is we're now using Bootstrap to basically make our website pretty. So for those who've done HTML and CSS before, this looks a little different, right? So this is our React coming in. Um, so Srijan, actually, we're running out of time. So maybe
Okay.
can you just give them the code for this section and let's move on to the next component.
Okay, sure. So let me just add a padding first. So it will bother me otherwise. Okay. So I think for this section we are done. For the header we are done. So we have our header ready. What we need now is an about me section after this. So what we are going to do is we are just going to add another component called about.js. It will be a different file. Again, because it's a React, we need to import React from React. I think from the later versions after 16.5 of React, you do not need to import this every time unless you're using classes, but it's always a good idea to import it. Either ways. Function, we're going to do the same thing that we did with our header first. So we're going to export them into div for now. We're going to export this function. We need to link this to this. So pretty much the same thing till now, and just add. Okay, so this is like a starting code for our about section. So now there is a little technicality which we will be using from React Bootstrap. So if you know Bootstrap, you know the grid layout system of Bootstrap. But if you don't know it, basically React divides your screen horizontally into 12 equal cells. So if you say have your phone, so this thing will be divided, this length will be divided into 12 equal cells. The reason for that is it is easier for us to make it responsive related to the screen size, so that a single website we can use on multiple screens, say tablet, mobile phone, or even computer. So you can create a container with a row and a column inside it. If you do not specify the size, React Bootstrap will automatically divide it into equal lengths. You can also specify the size related to the screen. So you can specify the size for large, medium, small, extra large, extra small, and double extra large screens. So it's up to you, like how you. So I'll give an example through the about me section. So let's delete this code. We are going to open container and say each one to say doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be inside a row because it just takes the whole length. Or we can give it away, but let's just line it to the center of the screen. And then we create a row and we will give it 2 columns. Make sure to import row and column. Okay, so for the first column, we are going to give it 6 for the rows for small screens, medium, and 5 cells in a row. And for the large, we want it to span 4, but we don't want it to take the first cell. So we will give it an offset of so in the first column, what we are going to do is we are going to add the image. So you can use the image src. You can use Google, say the image. So you can take any of these images, say this one. Copy link address. And we just paste the link. For React, you need to give an alternate. So just say. So it should load if we have linked everything correctly. There's a problem here. The image cannot load. You can also download this image, save images. You can save it in the component folder, or if you want, you can just create an images folder and save all the images there. So, which is ideally the better way. So, if I delete this whole thing. In React, you import images like this. So, import dev top11.png. So instead of using the whole link, we are just going to call it dev.
All right, so we are actually running over time, and that is totally fine because for our workshop today, we just wanted to show you the flow of how to create your website. So all the source code will be available, which means that you can just, copy and paste and then do what you want from there. But Srijan today showed you how to create components and how to put them in your app.js. Also, how to use Bootstrap library, so you don't have to code all your CSS alone.
Yeah,
And
we can
he's
just copy
also,
paste.
yeah. So he's also showed you how to, follow best practices like importing images and then using those shortcuts in your code. So Srijan, maybe can we go through, maybe can you show us the full source code and then
Oh,
just highlight?
okay, the one for this one?
Yes, the full, yeah.
So after you have like done the steps, like
Yeah.
different components and stuff, you should have this full package. And we will provide this package to you soon, so you don't need to do it
Yeah.
anymore. So basically, this is the full package with all the components. This is the entire codes. All right. So after following the steps
This is
that
this
we're
is
doing
the
step by
header.
step.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So
Header. Yeah.
after that, you will have this entire thing. So Srijan, after this whole code and component, everything is ready. What's our next step?
So once you have this ready, so what you need to do is, okay, can I just, okay, in order, and I think I have to show it to them, but okay. So what I'll just do is, so you need to host your website on GitHub pages. So in order to do that, let me just work with the code that I have for now. So I was doing this one, right? Not a complete thing, but you can still host it. So in order to host it to GitHub pages, you need to follow some steps. Do we have time for that?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Do we have time for the hosting section? Like, can
All right, so before we go into the host, could you just show the source code and like do a full recap of what, like how
Okay.
to build it?
So basically we went through the header section. This is the navigation bar. I added few more styles in between here and here. You can do that as well. Then we were working on the about us. So this is basically the about section with a container. This will be a container for this white part of the screen. Then in that we gave a header
Yeah, so
and each row.
Sean,
Yeah.
maybe just show what is happening in H1. So H1 is a HTML tag, and then we have a styling component, right? Like the styling part.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
where
So
your code, yeah. And
yeah,
then, right. So everyone, you understand that we are using HTML. It's kind of like, so this is JSX,
yeah.
and we have HTML in it, and then we're also styling it using our squiggly brackets. Okay, so that's the structure of how to code in JSX. And Srijan, go through our components.
So this is the about us component, and then we have a project component after that. For project, you can use the card, which is given by Bootstrap. Card is just like your header. It is already pre-built, so you just have to copy and paste it and change some things for it. Just change this text. That will also work. Then you can use your container, just like you used it in about section, and you can create a row with 3 projects, or however how many projects do you have. Depending on that, you can divide it into several rows and columns. After
Right. So
that, yeah, continue.
yeah. So guys, remember the call component is actually how we format our columns. So Bootstrap has 12 columns, right, Srijan?
Yeah, a screen is divided into 12 equal columns.
Right. And then we specify how big those columns are by looking at, SM equals 12, MD equals 6. So that's how you use Bootstrap components. Okay, so we got that. Next.
So yeah, so we have card here. Then we have each column will have a card, and like that you can create a section like this. Now we have skill section, in which you can highlight your own skills. So it's just like about a section, like you create columns and rows and you divide it accordingly, whatever styling you prefer. So if you want, you can create a CSS file as well, where you can like add your own styling. And if you add your own stylings, then it will generally override the styling of Bootstrap. So you can like design your own, uh, you can design your own section. Like I added this zoom in feature when you hover over it using the CSS file. So yeah, I didn't use Bootstrap in that. It was just a normal CSS. You can override the Bootstrap functionalities as well.
So
Uh,
guys, What's happening is, for our whole build, we've been using Bootstrap as our baseline CSS library, but Srijan wanted to introduce some custom CSS. That's why we have skill.css, and if you see, it's all, all Srijan's code. So we can
Yeah.
build on top of Bootstrap.
Then at last, yeah, the contact me section where you can link your social media accounts or your other accounts where you can showcase your skills. So for that, I used another package called React Social Icons. You need to install it using npm. So basically this package, you have to then, you can just use its component called social icon and then give your URL. It is a smart component, so if you give Twitter, it will automatically load a Twitter icon here. If you give it Instagram, it will load Instagram and likewise. So it's like this. If I just show so just like you install the Bootstrap, you can Google this React social icons and it will take you to its npm website. And then you can just React to install it. And these are the icons which they provide. So yes, so this would have like created your whole website completely. So this was the code. This was the main part. These were the main components required to create a single page website. Yes, how do we publish the web on GitHub? So should I like tell that orally or should I show it to them? Do we have time for that?
Could we now go into our deploy?
Okay. So I can show it to them, right?
Right, so
Okay.
let's go from step 1 and then deploy.
Okay. So now for deployment, you have to do some setups. So first, so I'll use the one website which I just created because the other one is already hosted. So you can just do it. So you need to initialize your GitHub repository and you need to git origin. So basically, if you go to your GitHub, you need to copy this line and you need to basically paste it here. That's it for now. For now, you just have to do this. Now you have to, this is the only git which was required actually. You don't need to push the code
Srijan,
completely. Yeah.
can you put this
Yeah.
command in the chat?
This command will be, this link will be different for them.
Okay.
So they can just, so the repository that they have created inside their own GitHub account, they can just copy paste this link, git remote add origin. So I can just modify this a bit. Yeah. So in place of username, you have to add your own username. That's it. So yeah, coming back to the code, we need to make some changes to this file, package.json. Before we make changes to that, make sure you have this thing installed called ghpages. I will give you the link of, we give you the npm install command for this. So you have to install ghpages, which is like short form for GitHub pages. So till it's installing, what you can do is you can go to package.json and after private here, you have to give it a command of homepage inside double quotes, and it should call https my username, which is shdevelop.github.io/ the name of the repository. So the name of the repository is portfolio demo and add a comma. So yeah, this is the first thing that you need to do. Then here in the scripts tab, you need to add two commands called pre-deploy, where you just need to run npm run build, and the other one you need is deploy, where you just need, it was GH pages the if you don't remember it, like I don't remember most of the times, you can just go to Google and paste it. Like it's completely fine. We do it all the time. Every coder does it all the time.
So Srijan, we're gonna give them this package.json,
Yeah,
right?
we
And
are
all
going to
the
give them.
scripts.
Yeah.
So guys, don't worry about the typing. That's not the point of the workshop. It's to actually understand the flow of how to create a website. So, all right. So Srijan, how are we looking on the deploy? Are we done?
So our setup is done. This will be our setup for the code. This is anything. This is the only thing which we need to do for the code. So we need to set up the Git repository. We need to give it an origin. We need to install GH pages, and we need to add these two things in the package.json. Now, here we just need to run npm run deploy. When we run npm run deploy, it will run two commands. It will do the pre-deploy and it will do the deploy. As you can see, I have a new folder here called build. This build will contain my HTML and CSS, which will be published to the GitHub pages.
So guys, what we did right now is kind of like created a shortcut, so we don't have to actually type out all the commands. So Srijan here made a shortcut. So that is what we did with the package.json. And now we have a build folder. So our code is actually like a lot, it's like quite big. And when we deploy it and let people access our website, we don't want them to access like a huge file. So we've actually made it small. And that's what a build folder is. Right,
Okay.
Srijan?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now if I refresh this, it should have been updated. Yes, it is now updated to the build file. It will take some time to actually publish. It will give it around 10 minutes or so. It will publish automatically. Yeah, the other thing which was Netlify. Till then I can talk about Netlify. So for Netlify, you create your account and you should get this dashboard. So in this dashboard, you can go to sites. All you need to do is you need to come here. You only need this build folder for this. The build folder will compile our code into normal HTML and CSS so that the browser can understand it. Browser doesn't understand JSX. Browser doesn't understand React. It doesn't care about it. It only cares about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So the build folder contains those files. So you just need to drag and drop it here. And it will upload. And this is site has been deployed. So if I click on this, okay. I have never used this. So does this happen with Netlify? Scotty, have you used it?
Sorry?
Have you ever used Netlify before?
No, I use GitHub Pages.
Yeah, GitHub pages.
So maybe, okay, so we've actually given two options, right? So maybe you can skip the Netlify and we'll stick to GitHub Pages.
Yeah, I think the GitHub pages should be ready. Yeah, it is ready.
Yeah.
So if I view deployment, yeah, it's ready.
Awesome. All
So
right.
you have a link here.
Yeah. So we've done the full flow of the build, right, Srijan? So
Yeah.
we're good. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for staying until the end. Today was a super, super fast workshop. And we've also learned a lot on our side, and I hope you guys also learned a lot. So thank you so much, Srijan. I think you did a wonderful job today.
I
And
tried my best, given it's like 7 in the morning here.
guys, Srijan downed like 3 monsters to be here with us. So let's pray for his brains so that his brain cells
Um,
are still active.
I, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I know a lot of people suffered today because, setting up is like a huge chaos. And don't worry, we're always here for you. So if you have any questions after the build, always reach out. Because what we are trying to do here at GDSC is basically create a culture of collaboration. So it's not just about coding, it's also about, helping each other and making sure that we feel like there's a support system at PolyU. All right, so that is it for today. Sridham, do you want to go over your slides?
Yeah, one more thing I need to add, like, so for the submission, we are giving you a choice. You can, if you don't like coding or if you're not comfortable with coding, you can use WordPress or Wix. Yeah, just like as this meme, you will be this type of web developer. So you can use that. You can just submit that link. All we need is your website where you have showcased something about yourself. Uh, yeah, so this is the badges detail. Like anybody who will upload the website within 2 weeks will get the LinkedIn badge.
Yep. So, all right, guys, cool. Fast recap. We will provide GitHub repo with all of Srijan's amazing code. Then we'll also provide the Notion that we've been circulating in the chat box. And about the badges, the LinkedIn badges, you have a 2-week window to submit your deployed websites to us. And then we'll give you a really sexy badge on LinkedIn and it'll help you with
Yeah.
your jobs. ASP.NET guy. Awesome, Matthew. Yes. So now what is happening with GDSE is that we have at least one workshop for the next couple months.
Yeah.
And our next workshop will be AI with art. And that will be with our AI division. And then after that, we have another UI UX for websites. And after that, we also have quantum computing. And then that's going to be super exciting. It'll be for beginners for quantum
Yeah.
computing. And then we'll have a metaverse event. So all these really cool events are coming in the next few weeks. So keep posted and make sure that you guys are in the groups. Anything else to add? Gordon, anything? All good. Okay, Rakshit, anything else? All good? All right. So yeah, that's it for tonight.